Hi, I'm Vicki. I go by Sjogren sTrouper, and this video, it's a part 2 of my dietary change. I started a anti-inflammatory diet. Was it March of 2023, I think? I did a video about that. I have an update about how that went and what sort of came out of it. I am in the clinic for my yearly mammogram. I apologize for all the background noise. I had to get here a couple hours early because the person bringing me had someplace else they needed to be, and I'm so grateful just to have somebody to bring me. So in the beginning of my dietary change, I started slowly. I was already trying to do gluten-free and dairy-free. And so in the beginning of the diet plan, one of my goals was to completely be off of gluten and dairy, no cheating, no exceptions. So I set a date for myself so that I could be more prepared and continue with some easy choices that were easy to fix when I was really low on energy, hurting, bad headache, those kinds of things, because they get in the way. I did that for 1 to 2 weeks. I can't really remember, but I did that before I added in any more changes, and it went really good. And I was feeling good. I started losing weight, just a teensy bit. So next was to go completely sugar-free. And that one was much more difficult for me because my brain was and is so geared towards the sweet. So the sweet and savory is what I gravitate to, especially if I'm feeling stressed out. What's going to make it better? Sugar. And it's the very, not really, but I think in my brain thinks that. And so it's the first thing I do if I start feeling stressed about something. It's right away to the cabinet. What's in here that's sweet, that's desirable? And there have been times when I have actually made a special trip in the past where I've made a special trip to the grocery store just for cake, specifically just for cake.
So I felt that it was important to insert right here that one of the biggest ways I was able to overcome this major sugar craving when feeling stressed or when something was happening in my personal life that was pretty distressing, I turned to the Lord. A lot of prayer, a lot of submitting myself, and a lot of self-internal work about what was the driving force to stay in that stressed out state. And by doing that, that has really helped me in a number of ways.
So I had that to contend with too. And it takes a long time for change. I don't know how long, that probably varies for different people. But for me, I really had to get frustrated with the status quo. It was not easy to break away from sugar. It was definitely a battle. So I had to make a battle plan. So what I did was pre-plan for those events and times with something sweet that wouldn't be as damaging as something like sugar, gluten, oils that my body reacts poorly to. And so I did dates, no sugar added dates, raisins, no sugar added. I wanted to try craisins, but in my store I couldn't find the type that were sugar-free, but I did find the raisins. And those were good, but I found that I couldn't really satisfyingly sink my teeth into a date. But after a period of time of using these types of foods and dried fruits that were not as harmful as sugar, pure sugars, I did get used to it. I did use real maple syrup and honey to sweeten like my teas and my gluten-free oats. So I also did the sweetened oat milk and then changed it up to the unsweetened, which was a bit hard for me, but if I used it in cereal or I used it on top of my gluten-free oats, I could do it. But the problem with cereal is even the gluten-free options, like even they're sweetened a little bit. So I switched over to the really low sugar Cheerios and just used drizzle of honey over the top of it along with the sugar-free oat milk. And that seemed to satisfy me to get me through the craving. And eventually, after probably 2 or 3 weeks, I ate a food that was artificially flavored and sweetened. It tasted disgusting. It just tasted terrible. So it ruined that for me, but in a good way. And finally, I had to say to myself, listen, don't look at this, Vicki, as a restriction. Look at it as choosing to kick out those foods, kick them out the door. That make you feel bad because they don't deserve to be in your environment or in your diet because they don't help you. And so suddenly it didn't feel like a punishment to myself anymore, but more of a celebration in providing for my needs.